So here it is with the old backlight on the bottom rail that was reinstalled. I'm gonna turn it back on. And what do we get? I don't know what we're gonna get. Oh, look at that. We get the same error. And if you try to turn it on, it'll just cycle through and give you a couple different errors. On this one, actually, it's giving me, it's a dead short. So I'll go over kind of the issue with this and what that light means. So initially when I had taken this apart, I had, like a lot of other people said on the internet, replace this power board. You can actually see I replaced this MOSFET, thinking that was the issue, and it was not the issue. I then unplugged this connector right here, and that didn't do anything. Unplugging the main board didn't work. I still got the same error, the single light, and it wouldn't do anything. So I started unplugging and testing these LED lights one by one. And just so that everyone is aware, this right here has high voltage DC and AC on it, and it will hurt you. So be very careful around this. It also has two very large caps that can store a lot of charge for a very long period of time. So be careful in this area. So, as you can see, the bottom one here is damaged. You can actually see, in comparison to the top one, that there's a couple of these lenses are missing. And those are the damaged LEDs on this back screen. Now, my particular issue on this TV was that the entire bottom row was damaged. And I, in a way that's very strange. As you can see, I soldered a resistor across it, but this one's blown, this one was blown, that one was blown, this one was blown, that one was blown, and this one was blown finally. And they weren't just blown, but they were also shorted to the case. So with them being shorted to the case, means that immediately when it powers up and it tries to check the amp draw on this, it sees a dead short and it doesn't do anything. But that's interesting because I took this out and I get the same error, but if I put it back in, I get the same error. And it's because if it checks and it sees an open, like a completely open circuit, it won't try and turn on. And if it sees a dead short, it won't turn on. So let me plug this back in real quick and float it from ground, and you'll see it'll work. So there it is. So it's floating now. It's no longer grounded. Let me plug this back in. And look at that. Now, of course, these aren't going to work because they're directly shorted across that that resistor. But hey, look, it works. And that's because this is pulling the proper amount of current across it, or it sees the correct amount of impedance. And the only reason that I realized that this was shorting out was because originally every time I had taken this apart, I had put this completely back into its place. And with that being the case, it didn't short or anything like that. But whenever I grabbed this and then I touched the case on the side, I went to remove it while it was powered off and those capacitors were still charged. I got a little bit of a shock when I shouldn't have. And that's when I realized that I checked to ground across this, and one of these were blown all the way through to the back side of this and were shorted. So I can actually show that right here. If I take this and move it over to where it touches, oh, look at that. It shorted. So, yep, not good. Not good at all. Yep, and you see it just shorted again. So that's one way of dissipating all of your capacitors, but not good for the power control board. So I ordered a new set of backlights, and let me install that if I didn't just damage the board right now in the name of science. All right, let me install this. Alright, so she's clipped back in there, and let's fire her up and see if she comes up. Oh, please, power control board, please come up. Hey, I didn't damage it, so that means that the self-protection circuits saved it from dying, which is awesome. So that means that this TV should be working again. So let me put it back together, and I'll show you that when it's all back together.